Our next presenter is somebody you probably all do not know, I'm sure. Alan Edge. He'll be showing us the PEZ technique developed by another local Toastmaster, Kathy Shine. Alan is a man of many talents. In fact, I encourage you to Google him. I did. It was very interesting and very entertaining. Alan is an ordained minister, a talented actor, director, producer, stand-up comedian in over 40 years in the performing arts. He is equipped with a Bachelor of Arts degree in theater from Columbia College in Chicago and a clear calling. Alan has dedicated his talents to God's vision. He is the founder and president of Transitions Edge Productions, Inc., TEP. TEP is committed to the effective communication of Christ Jesus through the performing arts and media. Alan also serves as the chairman of the board of directors for Christian Arts Network, Agape Youth Development, Family Support Services, as well as president of Love of Laughter, Toastmasters Club, and president of the club Speak TV. Showing us the PEZ evaluation technique, please welcome Alan Edge.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for those kind words. This is the PEZ, which, as you know, is a candy. We just had the sandwich. Is it me, or do we see a pattern here in Toastmasters of food acronyms for teaching? I hope that, while I'm doing the PEZ today, perhaps the next time that I do a presentation, it will be, we'll have an acronym for like Giordano's deep dish, sausage and cheese with mushroom, pepperoni, and onions. That's a long acronym, but some kind of way we can make it be a teachable moment where I'll have to have pizza up here. Value. Value. Utility, importance, significance. To evaluate, to judge the value or condition of something or someone in a careful and thoughtful way, from Merriam-Webster Dictionary. I am a stickler for structure. I love structure. I have to have some kind of foundational root before I begin any type of task, because it frees me up from thinking. Thinking is so laborious. One has to take one thought, put it with another thought, and come to a conclusion over and over and over again. But if I have me some structure, if I have a foundation, if I have my 3 steps, my 7 keys, my 5 parts, all those things, that good. When I leave the house, I have a mantra: ring, watch, wallet, keys. Ring, watch, wallet, keys. Ring, watch, wallet, keys. I don't have to think. When I leave the house, I know I did not forget my wallet. I know I did not forget my ring, and I know I did not forget my keys. Why? Because I said ring, watch, wallet, keys. If I fail to do that mantra, I will forget something. Why? Because I had to think. Thinking's not good. Bad thinking. But when I have my rudiments, when I have my watch, I'm a musician, so I started playing drums. We had drum rudiments, 5-stroke, 7-stroke, on the drum pad. Keys, da 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 da. That is how Miles Davis is able to improvise, because he mastered the rudiments. So he doesn't have to think about the keys. He doesn't think about G flat modulating to B flat and major and all that stuff. He can do that in his sleep. So now he's freed up to improvise because he's mastered the rudiments, structures, foundations, value. In the evaluation process, I find it very helpful, and I think you will too, that first you must establish the value of the individual that you're evaluating. What value do they have? You treat things differently based upon the value, don't you? If you got something that's a plastic cup that you got in a swag bag at a Toastmasters convention, says Joe's Plumbing, you may drink coffee out of it, you may store change and loosen nuts and bolts in it. But if you have a Ming vase from the 5th dynasty, there are only 3 in the known world, thousands of people were killed in order to get it there, worth billions of dollars, you treat it differently. Why? Because it has more value. So when a speaker is before you and you are tasked with evaluating them, you must consider their value. The human being is extremely durable and extremely fragile. And we must always be cognizant of that tricky duality. In judging, that is, assessing the value of this person's contribution to their community, to their family, to their labor force, it must be done with care. As it is written in the scriptures, life and death is in the power of the tongue. Proverbs 18:21. So we have the ability to tear up or build up. We have the ability to leave a person with a lifelong scar or lifelong enrichment. That is the foundation that you have to establish before you even think about evaluating this precious human being, this precious commodity. Because you have no idea what you're going to do. You never know if you're going to affect someone who just came from Puerto Rico, was influenced, that changed his life in a 12-month period, or someone who may be vertically challenged. To feel 10 feet tall based upon how you valued them. Now, here comes the structure. Why? Because no matter how much you value them, no matter how great your intentions may be, you can do a lot of damage if you just run in there like a bull in a china shop with no structure and no rudiments, no kind of guidelines or paradigms in your evaluation. So we have structure. Now we've seen the sandwich, which is really a great way to do it, to come in with a positive feedback, any improvements, and then some encouragement to go on further. Kathy Shine, one of our fellow Toastmasters, a DTM many times over, and a gifted educator, collaborated with her mentor, John Hutchins, and came up with PEZ, P-E-Z, PEZ. Again, food metaphors for these Toastmaster people. PEZ, a structured design to evaluate that when done properly, when followed according to the structure, will leave the speaker better than they were before, regardless really of the quality of the speech. Just the technique of the evaluation itself is so excellent in its approach, it's so excellent in establishing its value of the person that just evaluating under this process in itself is enriching. P-E-Z. P, personal. Personal. The very first step. What is your personal impression? Forget about the ums and ahs, the dangling modifiers. Just what was my impression of the speech? How did you affect me as a person? Personal confirms to the speaker their value. Why? Because somebody took the time to set aside their thoughts and their concerns and focus on me. You have no idea how huge that is. Have you ever had a conversation with someone and you're just telling them something that you feel is life-changing, transformative. And they look at you and they kind of glaze over. Or maybe you see that they're looking over your shoulder at someone or someone else, then back at you and they go, oh, yeah. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, no, really. Yeah. You know you lost them, that they're not really interested, that they don't assess the same amount of value on what you have to say as you do. So when a person immediately in the P exhibits the personal, wow, you blew my mind right away. I never knew that before. I've always been interested in music, but you brought a whole new level to me that I did anyone else experience that? Oh my God, right away the person, because here's the thing about this. Another biblical reference, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. What would you want to hear after you gave your speech? Really? Would you really want to know about the ums and ahs right away? Is that something that you're thinking about? God, I sure hope they counted my ums and my ahs. I mean, God, yeah, my speech was good, but what about the ums and the ahs? Did you get any of that? No. You want to know, did you wow them? Was it the same as when you were in the kitchen last night and you were just killing them? And you knew there were going to be tears, that people were going to, oh my God, you were expecting that, right? That's what you expect to get, or some semblance of that. So the first personal people-to-people contact, the speaker's eye view of it is essential to setting up everything else that follows. It was excellent. I never knew that about that before. Wow, you really moved me up there. Did you see how amazing? People don't care what you know unless they know that you care. Once they know that you care, we get that a lot. I'm a minister, and people will go about trying to evangelize people, and unfortunately, there's some Christians who really just like kind of taking score. I got 5. How many did you get? I got 7. And they got the tracks, and they're like, Jesus and the thing, and the love of God and the Jesus, and no sign right here. Join, say the prayer. Just like with Toastmasters, right? You're trying to join Toastmasters. You really come get in here. I got 5. How many did you get? People know when you're just trying to complete a task. But when they see that you care, that you took time up to listen to them more than talk, that you ask questions, that was amazing. I didn't know that before. They know that you care. That sets it up for E, to comment on the effectiveness of the speech process. Because now that they know that you care, they're open to receive any kind of correction from you because they believe you have a stake in this process. We are going through the process together. The speaker and we are in on this deal to try to make it a better deal instead of the speaker over here distancing themselves from the speaker, evaluator rather. So they're more receptive to the correction now because at least they've gotten over the first person huddle, because here's the thing about it. We all know, we've heard it 1,000 times. Public speaking, fear greater than death. I mean, so that's right there going into the game right away. So as soon as they're through speaking and overcome that fear, they need some kind of positive input, some kind of positive injection. So you did influence us. Yes, you did. I'm affirming to you that your speech had some impact, okay? Now, let's go into the effective part of it, where we talk about, the ums and ahs that you really wanted to hear about, that you were anxious to hear about. They were there, but here are some ways that you can eliminate the ums and ahs. Intentionally pause, so that you can feel the silence. Get used to hearing it. Nothingness. And get over and see that you didn't die as a result. Once you pass that life-death experience of silence, you'll find that you won't have a need for ums and ahs anymore. Because we want our speech to be better. You do one thing. You were, as I said to John, that because he is shorter, for him, using the stage and making crosses and speech is going to be a lot more steps. And may not be as effective as me, who can just in one stride just come and say, yeah, you know, blah, 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 and cross. So I advised John based upon John. I did not use John's evaluation based upon Mike. There are different body sizes, there are different styles. I'm taller. So I told John, I said, instead of crossing, just pivot. You can pivot and still take the people in and get the same effect as crossing and getting a stage. That was customized for John. So it is when you do the evaluation, because now we're personal. Again, I'm valuing you and what you have. I'm working with what you got. I don't care if you got one leg, if you're 6'7" or 5'2". This is what we got, and this is what we are working with. And so in the effective part of it, dealing with the things to correct, emphasizing what they already know to do. If they have rapid speech patterns, recognizing that you have a rapid speech pattern, it's not the end of the world. There's a way that we can deal with that, okay? But I go back to P, personal, for me. It's so important. It's just like with sales. Anybody work in sales? I hate sales. I hate sales with a passion. When I do some work, I want to check. I don't want, maybe you're going to get one, maybe they'll sign it. If they don't give you the okie doke, they may have to take the commission back. No. I put X amount of hours, I want the money, period, point blank. So I hate sales. But it's the only job you can get because they're not going to pay you unless you sell something. So I get a lot, you get a lot of that. But I learned something in the process. Open, presentation, and close. They told us that if you don't have a successful open, do not go to the presentation. It's futile. If people don't like you, you can't give them money. And I've seen it work. I've sold some stuff that was crazy, $500 for a membership to buy stuff on a co-op. I was like, and they give me a check. I was like, whoa. But they liked me. I came in, they had pizza for me and Kool-Aid. We talked about Carmen, Mississippi, and my grandmother, and all of that, whatever it takes. So that is the power of P in personal. We've established a relationship right up front. We like each other. I like you and you like me. But now I'm going to tell you how you can improve on your speech. Okay? Z, zone. You know what it means to be in the zone. Ooh, boy. When you're in a zone, oh my God, I'm a performing artist, and I love watching live jazz. You ever see a live or dancing? A quartet or a trio, and you're watching them, and they're just getting it on, they're starting, and one guy goes into a solo, and you're watching him, you're like, oh, he's gone. He's gone. For like 20 seconds, they just went somewhere, and you can tell that they went into a zone. They went places that beyond the rudiments, beyond the whatever, that will never be repeated again, because they just got caught up in it, in the spirit, in the zone of that. When you identify that, you took us somewhere in that speech. I'm sorry, I didn't take enough notes because I got lost. I forgot to even take the notes for the evaluation. I could tell the passion you had about human trafficking, that, my God, I'm going to look that up. You broke my heart. But I could tell you were somewhere that would talk. What does that do for the person, for the speaker? That lets them know that it was okay to be there in that passion. Because let's face it, when we're doing things that have little tasks, especially in Toastmasters, you could become so wrapped up in the rudiments that you become devoid of the humanness of yourself. I don't want to let that go. I'm an actor. I work very hard to let myself be open and vulnerable. It takes work to do that in front of strangers, okay? Especially if you're doing it, Tuesday through Sunday, 2 shows on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. And you have to do it over and over for 9 months. Every time I have to open myself up to be whatever, cry, sad, a clown, whatever it is, wearing a Speedo as a costume. I mean, whatever it is, believe me, that I have to be vulnerable to that. I have to work at that. And so do we as speakers. To speak about something personal. That's why I encourage this, just a little sidebar with this, that as Toastmasters, I think we need to go deeper. I've heard it. They say, well, you shouldn't, in the contest, you really shouldn't talk about religion, and you shouldn't talk about, what are you going to talk about? Pablum? Well, I wanted to speak about how my kids I learned a lesson because my son brought me in, a cookie, and I thought, gee, he really likes me, my son, and we ate the cookie, and from that I learned the power of cookies. And go deep. Go deep. And speakers are encouraged to go deep when you recognize that when you went into that zone, when you went into that place, you were in a place that you had no peer. That will encourage them to keep going deeper, keep going beyond the pablum, keep going beyond the mundane and the superficial. So the P, personal, identify with them. Let them know it's us, me and you, man. You impressed me right away. E, effective. How can you be more effective? How can you be more better? Yeah? How can you improve on what you do already with your strengths? You have a great voice, but sometimes you might want to try bringing it down like this. You really don't have to. You already have a very booming voice, so you don't really have to have it up here all the time. Where are you going to go for the big close if you start up here? You can be silent. Use it that way. Oh, okay. Right. Okay, and then the zone. To let them know that they went someplace and to go there intentionally. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. What do you want to hear when you get evaluated? How do you want to feel after the evaluation? What did you learn from the evaluation? What do you want to learn from the evaluation? Seek, and you shall find. When your evaluation, you should be totally focused. I know you got your widget to fill out and all of that. You can fill it out later. Even in a contest, they give you 60 seconds later. Just be totally focused and look intentionally, seeking, looking, always to see what you can do. PEZ, personal, effective, in a zone.